Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? I am back for another NFL Power Rankings video. Once again, I'm doing a recorded game, so let's see how that changes about an hour or so. Let's get started. Number 32, Jacksonville Jaguars. Worst defense in the league, worst head coach in the league. Bottom five offense. I think the Jaguars are going to be in the bottom, at least bottom three for the entire year. Number 31, New York Jets. St. Louis Jaguars. The only reason why they're higher is because I do have more promise in their coaches than I do with Jacksonville. That being said, the Jets have more talent than the Jaguars. However, I could see the Jets easily being bumped down to number 32 and Jaguars being number 31 due to more promise later on, considering the Jets have worse talent than the Jaguars. Number 30, you got the New York Giants. This is kind of obvious. Defense does not look good. Daniel Jones has been off and on. And of course, jumping outside against that Washington game and then giving up another game-winning field goal to Atlanta. I mean, two out of top three games, they've given up a last-second field goal, and then their first one to the bomb at Denver. Number 29, the Houston Texans. This is kind of obvious. I don't particularly like their coaching staff all that much. I mean, their head coach, the former Ravens passing game coordinator, ran the 32nd ranked passing offense, so what do you expect there? And of course, all the injuries, especially to their starting quarterback. I mean, that's a third string quarterback, Davis Mills. Not looking good for the Texans. Moving on. Come on. There you go. Number 28, the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Matt Ryan has kind of looked a bit washed, which is kind of sucks because he's been on my fantasy team. And the defense is kind of terrible. But the amount of talent they have, especially on offense, it's got like Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley. I think that's the only reason they'll be competitive in some of these games. Now to them, the Philadelphia Eagles. The only game they won against, which is Atlanta, and they just got completely bombed the last 2 weeks. And Jalen Hurts struggled. The offense gave up 2 defensive touchdowns. The defense got absolutely creamed by Dak Prescott in the offense. Number 26 is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the injuries is the big reason why they're a bit slow. But considering how competitive they were against the Raiders, that's the big reason why I could see the Dolphins higher coming up. Is because if they're competitive, they can easily be up there. But as of now, with the injuries and the few key pieces holding them back, I thought for the 26. Number 25 is the Detroit Lions. Another team with a lot of promise like Miami, but they still need a couple more key pieces to pull it around. Jared Goff has shown a lot of promise. I do like and while the wide receiving core is young with a lot of rookies, Quintus Cephas and Amon St. Brown are probably the two guys. Those guys and TJ Hawkinson, which is probably their only veteran receiving weapon. I mean, Tyrell Williams has been injured. And even then, it's only in its like third year. So, what do you expect there? But anyways, moving on. Number 24, we had the Chicago Bears, a team that could see possibly going even lower by the end of the season due to the offensive and coaching ineptitude that's been put on display. If they lose to Detroit, that they're officially getting Christian Lions. Lions are definitely getting bumped up due to showing a lot of promise, and the Bears are going to get completely tanked. At number 23, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Injuries or not, Carson Wentz needs to show improvement. And then once again, the defense has been hit or miss. Mostly misses, especially with Derrick Henry, which we'll get to later. Number 22 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably the biggest frauds after week 1. And a lot of people were once again thinking that this would be a 2019 Steelers, all these doubts. I was going to go on this crazy run to start the season. But I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. Big Ben looks old as heck, and the offense has looked absolutely terrible, and of course the injuries to their pass rush, and they just got like collapsed by the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 21, the New England Patriots. Matt Jones threw 3 interceptions, and the defense looked terrible against New Orleans. But other than that, New England could turn the corner in a couple weeks, and I could see them in the upper half of the list. But we'll see there. Number 20, we got the Washington football team. Defense is probably I wouldn't say overrated because I was hyped for their defense, but so far it could be an overrated defense just because of how hyped they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, I bought into that. I thought their defense was going to be top 5, if not top 3. But but if the offense can't go and defense completely falters, then you're going to get a game against Buffalo where they just get absolutely smashed. Where Josh Allen will absolutely kill you, or whichever quarterback on the other side can absolutely kill your defense, and your offense doesn't have enough firepower to keep up. Number 19, Seattle Seahawks, same thing. Even though Seattle does have a better offense than Washington. But similar to Washington, even if Seattle has a top 10 offense, their defenses look absolutely god awful. And I think Seattle's gonna completely fall off, especially with their division. I mean, they get to play Matt Stafford and Durant this week. If their defense has no improvements, and Stafford has 34 touchdowns, and 1 billion passing yards, no matter how good Russell Wilson is, and no matter how stellar their receiving weapons are, I mean, Tyler Lockett is the most underrated deep threats, and DK Metcalf is one of the best all around receivers in the league. But considering how good Seattle offense is, if their defense can't keep up, boom, bye bye. Number 18, New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill. I mean, Taysom Hill once again looking like the gadget guy, rushing touchdown, and then Jameis Winston is their starting quarterback, and of course look great and everything. But the Saints still need some improvements here and there. I think once their defense gets healthy, and I think they'll be able to compete. Number 17, the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, similar to Seattle, they have the offense to keep up. But the question is, can the defense hold it? And once again, I think the Viking big issue is consistency. The Kirk Cousins can be consistently good, and the defense can defenses stay consistent. The Vikings are going to be up there by the end of the year. Number 16, the Cincinnati Bengals. This is kind of obvious. Well, not really, considering a lot of people would be shocked to see the Bengals in the top half of the list. But they showed a lot. I mean, the Steelers didn't have any sacks, which is kind of crazy because I don't know if that shows the injuries to their pass rush or shows better play from the Bengals off the line. That as well, even with that, T. Higgins, Mark Chase, and Tyler Boyd have both looked really good. And of course, Joe Burrow bounced back from that 3 interception game against the Bears. He looked pretty good too. And right now, after that game, especially I think it's just lay it on Jacksonville and keep it competitive against Green Bay in the next 2 games. Bengals could be a top 5 team. Not actually, I wouldn't say top 5, more like top 10. but they could be up there, and I think the Bengals have a bright future. Number 15, the Tennessee Titans. One guy isn't going to make your team a top 10 team. Derrick Henry, best running back, one of the best running back in the league. Besides him, if AJ Brown and Julio Jones can't stay healthy, and Ryan Tannehill struggles, and the defense is absolutely terrible, that Titans team is going nowhere. Especially if they go up against a team with a lot more firepower on both sides of the ball. Like, for example, number 14, the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Braves would be a lot higher if a certain wide receiver can catch. I mean, 3 wide open touchdowns, all through his hands. And they need to get Lamar. Yeah, Lamar Jackson needs to keep throwing the ball deep more. I mean, one thing that I do like about Rashad Bateman is his route running and the fact that he can get deep. And if Bateman can keep his route running going in the NFL, and if he can go deep and get the 50 catches, he's going to look really good. And Marquise Brown needs to catch. I don't want to see another game where he drops a ton of catches. I mean, think about it. The Rays could have been up 21-0 at the end of the first half. Going into the second, still with the ball, and at that point they could just ran away with the game. Lucky for them, they had the best kicker in the league. Again, not called the late game, which at the review was shown to be different on the stadium clock than on the TV. But whatever, not getting into that controversy. Yeah, they got the best kicker in the league. And they got Sammy Watkins who came clutch on that 4th down, but there's no way I would have gone to Brown. Either Sammy Watkins or Mark Andrews was going to get that. I need to see more from Hollywood Brown if he wants to stay as the number 1 receiver. And if he becomes Nelson Aguilar and gets drop after drop, the future's not going to be right for it. Number 13, Denver Broncos. Another team that could drop, especially if they lose to the Ravens, and because they have and because they're starting, is the Ravens the first game that they're going up against as a winning record. But besides their paper soft schedule, the offense, especially Teddy Bridgewater, has looked good. I mean, losing Hamler for the season is difficult, and of course, Jerry Jeudy on IR. So the top 2 receivers going to this game is Courtland Sutton, who I really, really like. And I think because of free agent, I won't be shocked that the Ravens try to go after him. Him and Tim Patrick. And of course, there's that tight end with that super crazy long last name, as well as Noah Fant. So Denver, even without Jeudy and Hamler, that Denver could still do damage. All right, moving on. We got the San Fran 49ers at 12. I want to put them higher. In fact, I might put them higher, especially if they show more fight to them this year. But the fact they're willing to take it down to the wire, I guess, seems like the Packers, or I guess they play the Vikings later in the season, or considering they play considering the 49ers still a pretty hard schedule. And they still have to play the Vikings, still have to play in their division. But the reason why they're still still high is because, once again, I promise. Think of this Carolina. Carolina, I think, will probably drop a bit. That's by the reason. That's the reason why they're not in the top 10. It's because of their injuries. But after getting that, but after trading away Dan Arnold for CJ Henderson, I mean that was one steal of a trade right there. That and the Dan Darnold trades have looked absolutely great in Carolina's favor. I mean, trading 2 third-round picks or 2 first-round picks have looked great for them. And I'm excited to see how Chuba, whatever, however it does in his first start without Christian McCaffrey. Let's see how he does there. And man, once JC Horn comes back from that injury, him and CJ Henderson are going to look absolutely great together. Yeah, thank God it's a broken foot. Then first I saw that. The first thing I thought was torn Achilles, but luckily it wasn't torn Achilles. Luckily it's okay. All right, now let's get into the top 10. And number 10, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray has looked great. The offense has looked great. I mean, your number one receiver is obviously DeAndre Hopkins. Number 2, I just have to see Rondale Moore has been getting the targets that he's gotten. And of course, AJ Green has been the number 2. And Christian Kirk is another. Actually, from it looks like Cardinal DeAndre Hopkins. Besides DeAndre Hopkins, number 2 has been Christian Kirk, and number 3 has been AJ Green, followed by Rondale Moore. Wow. Yeah, Rondale Moore has been getting some targets as well. Yeah, honestly, Arizona's receiving core has looked pretty good. Number 9 is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, just like that Washington game, and just like the Miami game, Josh Allen is showing improvements week after week. Showing that week 1 was probably a fluke. Showing that nope, he's still here. Even with a John Contact session, he's still ready to go. So that's the Buffalo Bills at number 9. Number 8, they had the Cleveland Browns. Along with everybody else, and those shots and that shots with ever see the Browns in the top 10. I mean, they should be in the top 10 after last year to this year. And of course, Baker Mayfield has looked great. The receiving core looked pretty great. I want to see more out of without Jarvis Landry, Schwartz has looked pretty good, and OBJ. Of course, OBJ's back. And of course, Donovan Peoples-Jones could be great as the number 4 guy. Anyways, moving on. Number 7, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Kansas City might be top 5 by the end of the year again. But right now, I have to put them at number 7. They like the top 6 out of them slightly more. I mean, the offense is going to do great. It's Josh Gordon out back there for them. But it's Josh Gordon paired up with Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman. That's going to look really good if he can stay off the damn weed. Sorry for that terrible Steve Naismith impression. But yeah, Kansas City is at number 7. Number 6, you got the LA Chargers, the team that upset Kansas City. And honestly, if the Chargers can keep that momentum going, and if they can show, and they can be competitive in their division, especially against guys like Kansas City or the team we're going to go up for our show soon. I think the Chargers could be I think it could be a Chargers Chiefs AFC Championship. Watch that be the case. But number 5, we got Dallas Cowboys. Raise your hand if you're shocked about how well the defense has played. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys offense has looked great. I mean, we knew that Prescott was going to do good. We knew the receiving core was going to look great. Ezekiel and Tony Pollard are thunder lightning at running back. But the defense has been the most impressive part about Dallas. And I think if the defense can keep this momentum chain going, even though Mike McCarthy is absolutely terrible, I think despite the failure that Mike McCarthy has been, Dallas Cowboys are once again getting carried by McCarthy, just like how the Packers, Aaron Rodgers Packers were throughout the 2010s. Raiders is another team that I'm pretty sure many people are going to be shocked to see in the top 5. But the amount of AFC powerhouses that they beat up on, and the fact that I think they're the second best 3-0 team right now, behind my number 1 choice, I think the Raiders are going to show a lot of people, but they shouldn't be slept on. Not to mention, they've had some crazy finishes. Well, I do think the Steelers are overrated and Dolphins also kind of overrated. I still think the Raiders are going to be a top 10 team by the end of the season. Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos are all going to be competitive and all could be fighting for playoff spots by the end of the season. I mean, the AFC itself could look really good, even though my top 3 are all NFC. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, yes, they did get blown out week 1 by the Saints. But week 2, week 3, they've looked like the Green Bay Packers. Just let Aaron Rodgers outscore the other team. Hopefully, let's not let the defense hunt them down, which they might do again by the end of the season. Oh boy. But yeah, Packers are at number 3. Although with Kevin King out with a quote unquote illness, I was happy to see Stokes get the number 2 role. And I think Eric Stokes might still get the number 2 role. Number 2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to bump them down 1 spot because it's still Tom Brady, it's still Antonio Brown, it's still Mike Evans, it's still Chris Godwin. And of course Gronk's been dealing with an injury lately, but if Gronk could be back and he could be healthy, Gronk's still gonna do his job, and of course they got OJ Howard and Cameron Brate. So yeah, moving on. Number 1, we had the team that beat Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I actually chose the Rams to beat Tampa Bay last week. Matt Stafford is going to be a top 5 quarterback by the end of the season. You should be in the MVP race. I think not only in the MVP race, but he's the front runner. I do like the Rams defense. Defenses look great. And of course Cooper Kupp was NFC Offensive Player of the Month. So yeah, that is my power ranking for week number 4. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you all next time.